Coming to the fourth type of epithelium, which is the simple ciliated epithelium. The cells bear hair-like outgrowths, and these hair-like outgrowths are known as cilia. You can see the diagram of this epithelium. These are the hair-like outgrowths known as cilia. It is of two types. Ciliated columnar epithelium. When the cells it comprises columnar cells which have cilia on their free surface. This type of epithelium is present in the respiratory tract and fallopian tubes. In the respiratory tract, it helps in movement of the mucus, and it also helps in filtering the incoming air, from dust and microorganisms. In fallopian tubes, it helps in movement of the ova. It is also present in the ventricles of the brain and central canal of the spinal cord. In this part, it helps in movement of cerebrospinal fluid. It is also present in tympanic cavity and auditory tube. Second type of ciliated epithelium is the ciliated cuboidal epithelium. It consists of cubical cells which have cilia on their free surface. It is present in some parts of the nephron. The respiratory tract, cilia helps to push mucus towards the pharynx. In the oviducts, the cilia helps to move the egg towards the uterus. Coming to fifth type of epithelium, which is the pseudostratified. As you can see, the cells are of columnar shape. So the shape is similar to columnar epithelium, but the cells are of unequal size. So you can have one cell of this length and the another cell can be only of this length. Therefore, the nucleus will also be at variable levels. Of course, both the cells will be present on basement membrane. So you can see the epithelium is one cell thick, yet it appears to be multi-layered. It appears as multi-layered because the cells are of different heights. Therefore, the term used is pseudo. Pseudo means false. Coming to compound epithelium, which are the multi-layered epitheliums. You can see various types of compound epithelium. You have ciliated pseudostratified epithelium, keratinized, which is present in the skin, stratified squamous epithelium, ciliated pseudostratified epithelium, and keratinized stratified squamous epithelium. The compound epithelium are made up of more than one layer of cell. They may be stratified or transitional. Coming to stratified epithelium, it has many layers of cells, but remember the deepest layer will always be made up of columnar or cuboidal cells. Stratified squamous epithelium is of two types. Number one is keratinized stratified squamous epithelium. It is known as keratinized because it contains a waterproof protein which is known as keratin. Keratin, as I just told you, is impermeable to water and is also resistant to mechanical abrasions or injuries. So this type of epithelium will be present in skin. It provides protection to the skin, from microorganisms. Coming to non-keratinized stratified squamous epithelium, the cells are similar to keratinized stratified squamous epithelium, but the important point of difference is that keratin is absent. The waterproofing substance is absent. Therefore, it is unable to check water loss and also provides only moderate protection against abrasions. It is present in buccal cavity, tongue, pharynx, esophagus, anal canal, lower part of urethra, vocal cords, vagina, cervix, conjunctiva, inner surface of the eyelids, and cornea of the eye. The stratified cuboidal epithelium is present only to a limited extent in our body. It is outer layer of cuboidal cells and basal layer of columnar cell. It is present in some fish and some tailed amphibians. Similarly, stratified columnar epithelium also is present only to a limited extent in human body. It covers the epiglottis and mammary gland ducts and some parts of urethra. The stratified ciliated columnar epithelium, also present only to limited extent. It lines the pharynx and the upper part of the soft palate. Coming to transitional epithelium. Transitional epithelium consists of 4 to 6 layers of cells. The deepest layers are columnar or cuboidal. The cells of this surface are globular or umbrella shaped. But the most important point we had just discussed is there is no basement membrane. Therefore, it can stretch. And it is found in those places of the body which needs stretching, like the urinary bladder. As the urine is gradually filled, the urinary bladder needs to stretch. Therefore, it contains transitional epithelium. Similarly, the renal calyx, the renal pelvis, the ureters, these are the organs which needs stretching. Therefore, they are lined by transitional epithelium. Coming to our last topic on the epithelial tissue, the glandular epithelium or the glands. Glands are classified in different ways. The first classification is according to the site of secretion. Glands are of three types: the exocrine, endocrine, and the heterocrine glands. Coming to the exocrine glands, their secretions on the epithelial surface, they secrete their secretion directly through ducts. And the important exocrine glands are the salivary glands, the gastric glands, intestinal glands, tear glands, sweat, oil glands, mammary glands. These glands can be of two types: unicellular or multicellular. When unicellular, they secrete mucus. These are called goblet cells. Multicellular, these glands consist of two portions, a secretory portion and a duct. The second type of gland are the endocrine gland or the ductless glands. They are devoid of ducts. They lack ducts. They do not contain ducts. Therefore, they pour their secretion directly into the blood, and their secretions are known as hormones. The important endocrine glands you are well aware are thyroid, parathyroid, pituitary, adrenals, thymus, and the hypothalamus. Heterocrine glands. Important glands, they have both exocrine as well as endocrine part. The important heterocrine glands of our body are the pancreas and gonads. These are the various types of exocrine glands. You have three major types of exocrine glands. Number one is merocrine, apocrine, and the holocrine glands. We'll discuss these glands one by one. One is the merocrine gland. Merocrine glands are those glands which discharge their secretion without undergoing any change. And as it does not undergo any change, therefore, there is no loss of cells or their parts. Example, the glands associated with alimentary canal like salivary glands, intestinal glands, and goblet cells. Second are the apocrine gland. The secretion is present only in the apical part, of the cell. It can be a type of cell, and this is the only part which is filled with secretion. This is the apical part which is filled with secretion, and only the apical part breaks to release the secretion. Example are the mammary glands and some sweat glands. Third are the holocrine gland. Secretion is filled completely inside the gland, and the complete gland ruptures to release the secretion. Complete gland disintegrates, discharges its secretion. Example, the sebaceous glands.